oh, I'm live. That's weird. YouTube popped up some thing that I had to read and didn't realize that this was live. But it's okay because this is live, but it's for me. If you stumble onto this, this is my private journal, public, live, so that I can not have to edit it, so that I can just do it and not have. And thank you, YouTube, for housing this on so that I don't have to find space on my computer or something. Writing just wasn't working for me. I used to keep a journal when I was young, and my first husband read what I wrote and he took it the wrong way, and I stopped writing. And I haven't ever been consistent since I was like 20, I was 23 because I was in Chicago and had my third baby. So I was 23 when I stopped writing in my journal. Recently, I have been typing up my mother's journal because she, like most of us back in the olden days, wrote in cursive, and nobody can read in cursive anymore unless you're over 30, and they just don't even teach it. And so I've been typing them up so that we can share the journals with our whole family and let grandkids read them. And it has been so beautiful. I'm so grateful to see a side of my mother that I never saw. It's filling in all the missing pieces and the things that, anyway, that's besides the point. I've been doing this for about 9 months, and every time I type and see something new or beautiful, I think I need to start journaling for my posterity, and then I don't. And so for me, it's just easier to talk. I love doing Marco Polos with my sister and friends, and even I do Marco Polo mentoring with my clients when we can't find a time to meet one-on-one. It just is more helpful for me. It's easier than manual writing or even typing. Ugh, my fingers. Anyway, okay, that's besides the point. So my thoughts this morning, I'm just going to start, and here's what it is. In one of my Marco Polos, I had a dear friend and client reach out, and she was trying to wrap her head around what is real and all that we've been taught in various religions about God and life and suffering and pain, and noticing how one person can be abused or hurt or neglected or, in whatever way, and it can break them, and you see the damage that it causes throughout their lives. And then others take what has been placed upon them, and they take it and they somehow transmute it into benefit, and then they thrive, and they're strong, and or it doesn't even affect them. They just keep going. And you think, how can the same tragedy affect a person so differently? And what if it's all a sham? What if we don't have to feel the pain? What if we don't have to feel broken? What if we don't have to let anything break us? And I was just watching and smiling, because my very first meditation that I have in my course that I've created is about seeing your true self, the soul underneath all these masks and layers that we've placed on ourselves to protect ourselves, when in actuality it's holding us back from really showing up as the beautiful spirit that we are inside, the unbreakable soul. And so we went back and forth a little bit, and I was thinking about this more, and the last part was about God, and how, what if, because we hear different things about how the plan and how we can suffer, and how is there really a God if he allows for children to be wounded and hurt. And she said something interesting. She said, I am not the best parent, but I would never let my child put his hand in the fire just to learn that it's hot, to learn that you can't do, okay, let's put your hand in the fire so you can burn, and then you know that it's hot. Because we hear people that God lets us go through suffering so that we can gain experience, so that we can gain knowledge, and we won't do that again. And I don't think that's quite it either. My personal thoughts are that, and I am not saying I am anything. I have my relationship with God and my thoughts and my feelings, and they don't have to be anybody else's. I'm happy and open to opinions. But this is just where I'm at. I don't think God lets us suffer. I think that God has created this beautiful plan on earth where we can have families so that we can learn who he is. We learn about the plan of our existence and our forever in practicing in families here. And I think about, as I've been a mother and raising my children, and I think of how I tried to keep my kids safe and tried to teach them all that I could. And then I go back to when I was a kid and what my parents taught me, and teachers and religious leaders. And you know what? I listened a lot, and then I also went off and I did my own thing a lot. And I put my own hand in the fire, and I learned firsthand what it feels like to be burned. And my mother wasn't there. If she was there, if I was with my mother, she wouldn't let me put my hand in the fire. It's figurative. I've never put my hand in the fire. Okay, that's a lie. I've done the whoosh, 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 whoosh thing, like people do over how fast can you put your hand over the flame and not get burned? I've done that, but I haven't, but figuratively, I have put my hand in a lot of fires and learned firsthand how painful it is. And I know that if my wise mother or father were standing next to me, they would stop me. They would say, or at least tell me, that's not a good idea. That's going to hurt. And I think God does too, if we're listening. And that's the trick. I believe that I was with God before I came here. I don't know how it works with, if this is a one-time through thing or reincarnation, or I've listened to a whole lot of models and digested them, and I don't think it matters. I think what matters is how we live our lives here and what we're doing that helps us to become more godlike and more like who we really truly are inside. That's besides the point. But in my mind, I was with God before I came to the earth, and I chose to leave home. I chose to leave my heavenly parents and come here on earth and experience it all. And I think that is very much like when our kids are old enough to go off to school. And we start with elementary school so that they're only gone for a little while, and then they come home and we take care of them and we teach them and love them when they're hurt and all of the things. And then we get old enough where we're like, oh my gosh, my parents are so dumb. I know better. I'm so smart. Or maybe I was the only one. I don't know. I totally remember when I thought my mother was dumb. I thought both my parents were dumb. And no, I don't. I take that back. Not dumb, but ignorant. Neither one of them got past the 8th grade. And they both had really rough lives. And so I felt like, well, they just don't know. They haven't experienced real life. They are ignorant, but I am so smart. And then I went off into life on my own, and I got hurt over and over again because I didn't listen to the things that I was taught. I didn't listen or didn't believe that I really would be burned if I did that. And then I think about God and how all of the things that we need to have a good, safe, healthy, unbroken life are in the commandments. Like, it's really so simple. Life is so simple if we let it to be. We complicate it all the time. But if you live with God in your life, He is there. And you do get the messages to not make that mistake. And sometimes it's not us making mistakes. Some people take their ability to step into the fire and they take those burning bricks and they throw them on you, or mud. Like, earth is just like one big mud bath, and we get mud on us and we scoop it up, and we don't want the mud because it's gross, so we pick it up and we throw it on somebody else, and then they throw it on somebody else, and the whole world is mudslinging until you get to a point where you're like, it hurts and it's gross and I don't like it, but I'm not going to pass it on. It's not helpful. It doesn't make me feel good to see somebody else suffering. And so I'm not going to be a part of creating suffering for somebody else. And you take the mud off and you wash with the atonement of Christ daily. And then we are with God all the time and we're protected. And even when mud gets thrown on us, He cleans us and it feels good. And so it doesn't stick. And so we're not broken. And it doesn't hurt. It grows us and makes us stronger. And then we turn around and we want to help other people grow and be strong. And it's all beautiful if we let it. And those are my thoughts today. Life is so beautiful if we let it, if we clean ourselves. Yeah. Okay. Journal number 1, done. Been working on doing this for months and months, and now it's here, and we'll see if I'm consistent. All right, where's the stuff?